Hi, my name is Owen, and I'm a member of Group 7, along with Cheryl Shiraz, Catherine Blackwelder, and Susan Forgrave, and this is the introduction to our needs assessment project. We learned a lot of interesting things, and I look forward to sharing them with you. Thanks for watching.
Okay, first up we're going to have a brief introduction to our presentation here. First off, I'm going to introduce you to Everett Library, and then talk about some of the methods of the research involved in the needs assessment, talk about some of the major findings that the needs assessment produced, and then, of course, the conclusions and recommendations. All right. Okay, Everett Library is part of Queen's University of Charlotte. It serves 2,300 students and 130 full-time faculty and adjuncts. There are 3 floors, of which contain a Mac lab and various computer labs. There are 50 computer stations available for public use, study rooms, and a recording studio. The Curriculum and Resource Center, which has the classroom, workroom, study room, and a small children's library for use by the educational department. And then the databases involved in the library are JSTOR, EBSCOhost, EBSCO A through Z, and NC Live. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about some of the methods that we used. First off, we approached the Institutional Review Board of Queen's University and discussed the assignment with the head of the IRB, Dr. Lily Halstead. She recommended that we as a group conduct a voluntary anonymous survey and said that students could be encouraged to notice the survey, but she didn't want any direct communication between the students and the team, so this meant that we would have to do a print survey and no SurveyMonkey or other online surveys. And while we realized that a print survey would be more time-consuming, we really had no choice. Of course, we also realized that this meant that the survey limited itself to only those patrons who visit the library or students who visit the library, so any info gathered from other students would have to come from an additional study. Okay, then we developed the print survey, made it available at a table near the entrance, and encouraged students to take the survey. Team member Cheryl Shiraz walked around the library and encouraged these students to do that, and in the end we gathered 67 complete surveys. And then Cheryl also interviewed Dr. Carol Jordan, the director of Everett Library, and she talked about how the majority of the library facilities were out of date and in need of updating. And she talked about the new Friends of the Library study room, though, and the Friends of the Library at Queens raised over $50,000 to create and furnish this room. Okay, next let's talk about some major findings from the survey results. Alright, first off, we wanted to determine who uses the library. As you can see here, the majority of the respondents were seniors and juniors. In fact, seniors and juniors at the university. In fact, there was an exact tie between the two at 34.35% each. The least represented group, as you can see on the chart here, were those who were graduate or PhD students. But given that graduate and PhD students are less involved in campus life, especially at Queen's University, it is not surprising that they are the least represented group. The second question on the survey was regarding the sex of the survey participants. Ideally, there would be roughly equal representation between male and female, and in reality, we were pleased that our survey gave us participation ratio of 43.28% male to 56.72% female. Thus, our sample is indeed representative of both sexes at Queen's University. Question number 3 asked participants how often that they use the library. As you can see here, the response with the highest percentage was weekly, with 47.76% of respondents answering that way. In second place was daily, with 37.31%. And then the rest of the responses were much lower. So it can be concluded that our survey participants are avid library users, so that's good. And it means that the library is doing something to draw in patrons. Okay, questions 5 through 9 use the Likert scale, which asks participants how much they agree with a statement that we pose to them. So they can range from strongly agree to strongly disagree. and we've all done surveys like that before. So question 5 addressed satisfaction with the technology. The average answer for that, as you can see, was neutral. Question 6 addressed satisfaction with the website itself, and fortunately, most respondents were very happy with the website. Question 7 addressed the helpfulness of the librarians themselves, and most respondents also agreed that the librarians were helpful, so that's nice. Questions 8 and 9 address studying at the library and the use of the study room, so they both centered around students' ability to study while in the library, and the majority of the respondents to our survey agreed that the library is a good place to study and that the study rooms are indeed beneficial. So question 10 allowed for open-ended responses for students to give their feelings on how the library does in general without the use of the Likert scale. Fortunately, 50 out of the 67 of our respondents answered this question, and the most common request was for improved technology, more computers, and better printers. So from our survey, it seems that the library is a technology hub for the students. So for our conclusions and recommendations, we kind of went off of the idea as the library is a technology hub for patrons and students. Since 90% of the respondents use the library for technological purposes, the library should indeed embrace this role and provide the students with those computers and better printers. So most improvements from there on out should revolve around this need. Also, students come to the library to study and to socialize. So perhaps one way to deal with this would be to increase the number of study rooms available in the library, allow individuals to reserve them, not just groups, and this would allow for space for those who need quiet and also those who came to socialize.
Thank you for the time you've spent with us learning about our needs assessment project. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I'd like to say a quick thank you to my other group members for letting me do the presentation. Due to distance constraints, I'm living up here in the Appalachian Mountains, and I didn't have much of a chance to participate in other things. I certainly helped as much as I could, but this was one way that I could really help, and I want to say thank you to my teammates for allowing me to do this. Again, I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and it's been a fun class. I hope you all have a good summer. Thanks. Bye.